If you find yourself constantly explaining your choices, your feelings, your decisions to someone, stop. You're not communicating. You're being controlled. The moment you feel compelled to justify why you need space, why you're hurt, why you chose something different, that's not love asking. That's manipulation demanding an audience. Every time you catch yourself building a case for why you deserve basic respect, you're not in a relationship. You're in a courtroom. And somehow you've been convinced you're always the defendant. If this sounds like I'm reading your diary, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments, what's the hardest thing for you to stop explaining? I read every single comment, and your truth might be exactly what someone else desperately needs to hear today. Here's what Carl Rogers understood about healthy relationships. Genuine acceptance doesn't require constant explanation. When someone truly respects you, your no is complete. Your choice stands without a dissertation. Your feelings exist without footnotes. But the controller? They've trained you beautifully. They ask why until you're exhausted. They demand explanations until you doubt your own reality. They've convinced you that love means constant accountability to their comfort. You know that feeling when you finish a conversation and you're completely drained? When you feel like you just ran a marathon but all you did was try to make someone understand why you felt hurt? That's not normal communication. That's emotional labor designed to exhaust you into submission. You're not crazy for feeling drained after these conversations. You're not difficult for wanting your decisions respected. You're responding normally to abnormal treatment. The person who loves you doesn't need a PowerPoint presentation about why you're hurt. They don't require evidence that your boundaries are valid. They don't treat your emotions like a court case where you must prove your right to feel. Think about it. Do you demand explanations from people you respect? When your friend says they can't meet up, do you interrogate them? When someone says they're uncomfortable, do you cross-examine their discomfort? Of course not. Because respect understands that other people are whole humans with valid inner experiences. But here's the pattern you've probably lived countless times. You express a need. They question it. You explain. They find holes in your explanation. You explain more. They get frustrated with your defensiveness. You apologize for having needs in the first place. Sound familiar? The narcissist, the emotional abuser, the controller, they've made you believe that your internal world is somehow their property, that your feelings require their approval, that your choices need their permission. This is how they maintain power. By making you explain, they stay in the judge's seat. By demanding reasons, they get to decide if your reasons are good enough. By questioning everything, they never have to actually listen to anything. And here's the cruelest part. They've made you believe this is what intimacy looks like, that real closeness means having no privacy, no autonomous decisions, no feelings they haven't approved. But intimacy isn't interrogation. Love isn't cross-examination. Connection doesn't require you to defend your inner world like it's under attack. Here's the truth that will set you free. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself. You don't need to justify why their behavior hurt you. Pain doesn't require a thesis defense. You felt what you felt. That's data, not opinion. Your emotional response to someone's actions is information about what happened, not a debate topic. You don't need to explain why you need space. Healthy people understand that humans need breathing room. Controllers understand this too. They just don't care. They know space would give you clarity, and clarity is their enemy. You don't need to defend your boundaries. A boundary isn't a negotiation, it's information. I don't discuss my personal life at work, doesn't need supporting evidence. I don't lend money to friends, isn't awaiting approval. I need time to think, isn't an invitation for argument. The right people hear your boundary and respect it. The wrong people hear your boundary and start their cross-examination. They hear your no as the beginning of a debate, not the end of a discussion. Listen to how different these conversations feel. Healthy response. I need some space to think. Okay, I respect that. Let me know when you're ready to talk. Controlling response. I need some space to think. Why? What did I do? How long is some time? This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. If you really loved me, you wouldn't need space from me. See the difference? One respects your autonomy. The other questions your right to have it. This pattern often starts in childhood. Maybe you had parents who demanded explanations for your emotions. Why are you crying? What do you have to be upset about? So you learned that feelings need permission, that sadness requires approval, that your internal experience is somehow up for debate. Or maybe you learned that your needs were always secondary, that wanting privacy was selfish, that needing time alone was wrong, that your preferences were inconveniences to be explained away. But you're not that powerless child anymore. You don't need permission to feel. You don't need approval to choose. You don't need to convince anyone that you deserve basic respect. Your feelings are yours. Your needs are valid. Your boundaries are not suggestions waiting for someone else's approval. When someone truly cares about you, they're curious about your feelings, not suspicious of them. They want to understand you, not trap you in contradictions. They listen to learn, not to find ammunition for their next attack. The person who keeps demanding explanations isn't seeking understanding. They're seeking control. They want you tired, confused, and doubting yourself. They want you so focused on proving your worth that you forget you were already worthy. Because here's what happens when you're always explaining. You start living in their version of reality. You begin to see yourself through their lens. You start questioning your own perceptions, your own feelings, your own right to exist as a separate person with separate needs. You find yourself saying things like, "I don't know why I'm so sensitive," or "maybe I am overreacting." These aren't your thoughts, these are their thoughts planted in your mind through months or years of making you justify your humanity. And the most insidious part, they make you believe that this constant explaining is proof of how much you care. If you really loved me, you'd help me understand. Don't you want us to communicate better? But communication isn't endless justification. Understanding isn't achieved through interrogation. Love doesn't require you to defend your right to have needs. Stop explaining yourself to people who have no intention of understanding you. Stop defending your reality to people who benefit from your confusion. Stop trying to make sense to people who profit from your chaos. Your peace is not a debate topic. Your boundaries are not suggestions. Your feelings are not up for review. The right person won't make you explain why you deserve love. They'll just love you. The right person won't make you prove you deserve respect. They'll just respect you. The right person won't make you smaller so they can feel bigger. They won't make your needs negotiable so their comfort is guaranteed. They won't make your healing conditional on their understanding. And if someone can't love you without making you feel like you're constantly on trial, then what you have isn't love. It's a performance, and you deserve an audience that's actually watching, not just waiting for their turn to critique. Here's what I want you to understand. Healthy relationships don't require constant explanation because they're built on trust and respect. When someone trusts you, they don't need to understand every choice. When someone respects you, they don't question your right to have boundaries. The person who truly sees you will never make you feel invisible. The person who truly hears you will never make you repeat yourself until you're hoarse. The person who truly loves you will never make love feel like work. You were never meant to explain yourself into worthiness. You were born worthy. Some people will see it immediately. Others will miss it entirely. That's their loss, not your failure. Stop explaining. Start choosing. Choose people who get you without interrogation. Choose relationships that feel like rest, not work. Choose love that sees you clearly, not love that needs you smaller. Choose people who celebrate your complexity instead of simplifying you into someone easier to control. Choose people who are curious about your thoughts instead of threatened by them. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they demand it. You don't owe anyone your peace just because they're comfortable with your chaos. The person who truly deserves you will never make you feel like you're too much to understand. They'll meet your depth with their own. They'll match your complexity with curiosity, not criticism. And when you find those people, and you will, you'll remember what it feels like to be known without having to prove yourself, to be loved without having to earn it, to be respected without having to fight for it. That's not too much to ask for. That's the bare minimum you deserve. Stop explaining. Start receiving the love that doesn't require translation.